rude, surly, cocky, arrogant. These are the nice things people say about Patriots coach Bill Belichick. But even for someone well known for his terse response to media questions, Belichick has taken his shtick to a new low. Coach Bill Belichick is known for being both a man of few words and a man focused on just one thing, the game.
Do you think having a 37-year-old...
We're on to Cincinnati.
Do you feel like the talent you have here is good?
We're getting ready for Cincinnati.
Do you think you've done enough to help Tom Brady?
We're getting ready for Cincinnati.
Boston Globe NFL writer Ben Volen says Belichick is always in control and that it's a well-polished act.
The challenge is, as a journalist, you still have to go through the process. Even though we all know he's not going to answer questions about Antonio Brown's release or Julian Edelman's injury.
That's something CBS sports reporter Dana Jacobson also knows, but she asked anyway.
I think I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, what was the final straw with Antonio Brown?
Yeah, we're focused on the Jets today.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you.
Belichick was roundly criticized for giving Jacobson the death stare, but Volen isn't so sure that's what it was.
I think Bill was expecting a follow-up, and the reporter quickly shoveled to, okay, we're done, back to you. And I think that caught Belichick off guard a little bit.
Looking at it again...
Thank you, Coach. Thank you.
It's possible to see it that way. Still, says Volen, Belichick can be charming and has a dry sense of humor.
You ask him about an injury, is Julian Edelman going to practice today? And he'll always say, I'll make sure you're the first to know, and I'll make sure you get the injury report first.
So, knowing you'll get nothing, have you ever considered skipping the briefing?
You can't let them win.
Now, there's an answer Bill Belichick can relate to. All right, Callie, you were chuckling. Do you think that the thing with Dana Jacobson was he was really anticipating another question, or was he definitely staring her down?
I was kind of shocked when she just, and that says to me what everybody knows, is her expectation was he's not going to answer, so I'm not even following up. But I think she had an opportunity, there was nobody else there to follow up, and then he could stare at her longer, and she would have even better material to put on the air if he did that. I think it's ridiculous that everybody lets him get away with that. And the only thing I guess the guy who said you got to do it, I guess you do. But I guess what I'm expecting is, stories that go beyond whatever he does not give out, which we've seen more of recently. True. And when that happens, eventually he can decide if he wants to be part of the story or not. And if he continues to decide he doesn't want to be, well, you get what you get.
One of the things I wondered was, what about his obligation to the fans? Because the media is the conduit to the fans who want to know some of these things. I mean, they're fair questions, a lot of them, but he doesn't seem to care about that either.
Well, there's also the issue of what is Kraft going to say at the other side of this. I mean, Bill has to be really concerned about his being the voice on the subject of Antonio Brown. Yeah. It is truly amazing that we have a nice segment here on a Belichick press conference, and where he never says anything more than 2 or 3 words. This was eloquent for him. Sort of like no comment is about as far as he goes. It's just, to me, totally expected. And I don't see
unacceptable.
That. Well, as long as he keeps winning, he's going to get away with it. Everyone will let him do anything. But I see it as, it's kind of like actors who are in a movie, and then they have part of the job of being compensated for this movie is you go, and it's probably written in your contract.
No, it is.
You go on the junket. Yeah. You go on the junket, and you answer the same questions over and over again from the press, and maybe it's annoying to you, but it's part of your job. And that's the way it is for athletes, for coaches. You get very well compensated and very well treated to be on this team. You got to give something back, and you're right. The press is the way you do it.
And let me just say this. It's how he answers that question. He easily could have said, we've made a decision. That's the same thing, but that's giving respect to the question.
Exactly.
He is highly insulting by saying we're focusing on the Jets. Big whoop. That is not the answer to the question. I didn't ask you about the Jets. Yeah. What about Antonio Brown? He could have at least been respectful. And that's the thing that I don't get from the sports reporter.
He's contemptuous.
Yes, exactly. And since it is part of his contract, how dare you?
And the reporters are doing their job, so respect them for doing their job.
Exactly.
I don't care about Bill Belichick.
I don't either.
I watched the clip.
I'm obsessed with him.
I watched the clip about 10 times. I did not see any death stare.
Are you kidding?
No, absolutely not.
Okay,
he was just
get a new pair of
glasses. That's how he looks.
No,
he does that all the time.
I just did. As far as his obligations are not to do anything that hurts the bottom line. He's obviously not costing them anything in terms of popularity
fans like it.
or money or anything else. The fans love it. So there's no problem.
Yeah,
there.
one day that's not going to work.
Which is fine with me.
Yeah, you know.